That's where we'll use data store. See here, I want to get some AMI. Already on AWS, we have some AMI IDs, right? I want to grab that, or else I want to fetch that information, right? So I'll use that particular data. Again, there are data sources, like you have resources, AWS instance, type of data sources. So this is the type of the data source, and then the name of the data source. And then pass some filters, whatever you want. Like this is one filter. Like I have shown you, right, manually how you will search. The same way, these are all different filters. And then it has grabbed some ID. That ID is AM, like that object that AMI is in my AMI. Dot ID will put the AMI ID I have used in the instance.
Okay, thank you.
Anyway, we will also use the data source again, okay, so that you will get more clarity. We'll use data sources today also. Output values, it will just print it in the console. Like whatever, like you might have created some instances, right? If you just want to print that in the console, output values can be used. So today, like yesterday, we have discussed about data sources, output values, resources, how to create your infrastructure, how to modify it, how to delete it. These are all we have seen, right? Like how to destroy, modify existing one. This is all we have seen yesterday. Now let us look into something else, like customize the instance completely. Means, okay, we were just passing AMI and instance type, right? But you can customize everything. Means when you create instance, there were so many attributes those were created. Okay, we will look into that. Before that, let's look into one more thing called variables. Just I'll list out the things. Let me know we have done with it or not. We have done Terraform init, right? Terraform init is completed. Terraform plan we have discussed. Yes. Terraform state list also we have discussed, right? Data sources we have discussed. Idempotency we have discussed. Modifying the instances we have discussed. State list, that's done. Output values also. Yeah, before stepping into customizing the instance thoroughly, let's talk about something called variables. Variables means, see, I'm hard coding this value, right? Rather than hard coding this value, can we pass this variable during runtime? How is that done? Like, how can we do that? Yes, that's possible. That can be done in multiple ways. One is through user prompt. User prompt means here I can define the variable. Okay, variable. Let's say this instance type I want to pass as a variable. Okay, so let's say the name is instance type. Okay, that's a variable name. Okay, that's how you define the variable. If you want, you can put some description, or else without description also, it is fine. Okay, that's all. Argument or reference. Okay, so I have defined the variable. Now, how to use the variable? Here for instance type, I don't want to hard code, right? You can use the variable using var dot instance type. That's my variable name. Okay, that's all. So you can define the variable this way. But how do you pass the value for it? You can do it through runtime. Let me show executing this. Let's go to the new terminal. Okay. So Terraform apply. See, this is the user prompt. Means it will wait till you give the user prompt. Only you have to give the user prompt. Then it will create the infrastructure with that value you have passed. This is one way to pass the variables through the user prompt. And the other way is from the command line. Let this finish. Means instead of you, or else instead of the prompt waiting for the user input, you could pass it through the command line. Let us also do that. I'm not accepting this approval. I'm just canceling it. Okay. So that's how you can pass the value. Another way is whenever you are doing Terraform apply, you can pass that variable. Okay. The variable name is, what is the variable name? Instance type, right? Sorry, this one, instance type. So t3.micro, right? This is how you can pass the value so that it will not wait for your input or the prompt. So this is another way so that you are passing through the command line, right? But the best way out of this is using another file called terraform.vars, terraform.tfvars. Means instead of passing the value using the user prompt or through the command line, the best way is using a separate file called terraform.tfvars. So let's create a file. Okay, so you should rename this properly. Terraform.tfvars. Okay, so instance type equal to t3.micro, right? So you have the value here. You define the variables values here. Okay, now if you run this Terraform apply, it will not wait for the user input, or it doesn't expect you to pass the values. You can just say Terraform apply. It can understand it should take the values from terraform.tfvars. Okay, the file name should be the same. Then it will take the values from this file. But if you put a different file name, then you should pass the file name. Let it finish. I'll show you. I'm not applying it actually. Okay, I'm just canceling it. I just want to show you different ways you can use the variables. Not only this, okay, the variable definitions can also be separated. Like we have the variable definition here. You can put that in a separate file. These variable definitions can go to a separate file. For now, I'll just copy, create one more file called variables.tf. Okay, all the variables would be defined in here. Okay, and you remove everything, all the variable block from here. Right? Again, I'm canceling, but if you see it has taken the value from that terraform.tfvars, right? So I'm just canceling it. Again, rerun variables also separated, terraform t or tf also separated. This is the best practice actually. Now let us reapply. It should work fine with a variables file as well. So this is how you handle the variables. And what if I have a different file? Means like I would like to rename this as, okay, first let this finish. Maybe I may have multiple environments and I want to apply it depending on the environment. Means I would like to, for dev environment, I may have different instance type. For test environment, I may have some other different type of the instance. So you can maintain multiple TFVARs. Let this finish. Yeah, it has taken the value t3.micro and everything is working fine with the variables and this. I'm again cancelling it. Let's say I have this for dev environment, Terraform -dev.tfrs. Terraform.tfrs. Right now, you can apply this Terraform apply, but the difference is here you pass the var file Terraform-dev.tfrs, right? So otherwise, if you don't pass the value, it can't identify it. If the file name is different from terraform.tfvars, you should specify the file name using var file attribute. I have cancelled it anyway because see, if you don't have terraform.tfvars, it will not identify it. Let me show you that as well. Okay, so let me just do Terraform apply. Because it don't find terraform.tfvars, it will throw you an error. See, instance type. It was asking for the instance because it can't identify this file. So what you can do, you can pass the file this way. These are the different ways you can use the variables. One is the prompt type, means it will ask you for the prompt if you don't put a terraform.tfvars, right? Also, if you put it in a different file also, it will give you a prompt, okay, where you have to put the variable values. Another thing is from the command line. Okay, you can pass the value using -var attribute. Or else if the file name is different, you can also do that. You can also pass the file through the command line using something called var file, right? Means the file name. Clear everyone with all the different steps? Understood? And variables could be
Uh,
defined in variables.tf, values in .tfr. Yes, please.
Sorry, Priti, I didn't get properly. Like, what is the difference between variable.tf file and Terraform dev.tf variable
You
file?
have to first define the variable in the variables.tf. This is defining your variable. Okay, this is
Okay,
for assigning the value to the variable.
okay,
Earlier, I did not put variables.tf, rather I have placed here itself. But the best practice is put the variable definitions in a separate file called variables.tf. So later on, I moved it here. Otherwise, you can also define the variable here itself. This is the best practice. Okay, then values here. If you don't have the values file, it will ask you in the command, means it will give you a prompt where you have to enter the values. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't want to wait for your input, you can pass through -var. Otherwise, suppose if you put in a file, but the file name is a different file name, like it's not terraform.tfs, it's terraform-df dev.tfs. It can't identify. So you have to use this. Let me just summarize those commands. Hmm. See, if I don't have this file, imagine I don't have this file. If I run this, it will give me the prompt. Means it will wait till I give the input. Okay, so that's one method. Another method is if you don't want to wait, you can do this way. The value, the variable name and the value. This is second method. But let's say I don't want to use any, I don't want to pass anything from CLI. So you can put it in a file called terraform.tfvars. Then if you run, it will work fine. But the file name should be terraform.tfvars. If your file name is something else, and if you don't provide that file name, it will again give the user prompt. So to avoid that, you can pass the file name with a var file parameter. Understood now?
yes, Priti, thank you.
You don't need to pass the file name if the file name is terraform.tfs. If it is anything else, yes, you have to. Okay,
Okay,
fine.
thank you.
Hmm. Now, okay, fine. I have created the infrastructure, let's say for dev environment. Let's say I have one more environment. Okay, so I'm creating another file. Would like to rename this as test. Okay, right? Test environment and dev environment. So now what I'll do, let's say here test environment is T3.medium or T2.medium for test. Hmm. Do we have, first of all, T2.medium in this region? You have to check that. This is Mumbai, right? So I believe it should have. It's a Mumbai. Or else which one I have used? Region. Let me check the region which I have used. AP South 2. I think it was Hyderabad region. I'm using for Hyderabad. Okay, this is AP South 2. Hyderabad region. Let me go there and check if we have that T2.medium. Otherwise, it will say that this region doesn't support and you may get error. Okay, T3.micro and okay, T3.small or T3.nano. Okay, I will use small instances rather than this huge. T3.nano. Okay, done. So I would like to use this one or this one. Let's suppose I'll do Terraform apply and pass this terraform.tf. It will create the instance. Okay, I'm running this. Just let me make sure. Okay, this was all good. Okay, one instance it should create. Terraform.-tfs. It should create T3.micro instance. Right? So one added. Here you can see one added and yeah, the AM ID T2.micro. Yes, now this one we have seen yesterday already. Okay, so instance is created. Now let's suppose I want to create test environment as well. Okay, what I have to do, I have to just pass this test. What happens now? This is the test environment. It will modify the existing infrastructure, isn't it? It's going to modify the existing infrastructure. Correct? It will modify this as T3.nano. But what I want is I want a parallel environment. Means I want to have dev environment as well as test environment. Not always the same editing, isn't it? We have to maintain parallel environments, parallel infrastructure we need to have. So how is that possible? If I apply this, already I have applied it. Now what happens? The state file will be modified. Same state file being used for everything, isn't it? See, it will make the change. It will make the change and make it a, if I do this, yeah, it will make the instance as nano, correct? But I don't want it. Rather, I would like to maintain multiple environments. Means, how do you maintain environments? How do you have multiple environments? How do you replicate your infrastructure to multiple environments? Isn't it? So that's again an important question or important thing in real practice, important from interview perspective as well. So how do you maintain multiple environments? If you want to maintain multiple or parallel environments or replicate the infrastructure, you should have multiple state files, isn't it? Because the same state file should not be modified. It is just a modification. It's not replicating. See, it's modifying. So you can achieve this multiple environments, parallel environments, whatever you call them, using something called workspaces in Ansible. Sorry, workspaces in Terraform. Right? Let me show you. Let this finish. I'll show you. Let the modification complete. We will create workspaces. One workspace for dev, one workspace for test. Same code can be replicated to multiple environments. Means it will create instance for multiple environments. So firstly, you can do Terraform workspace list. By default, means whatever you are doing, it's something like you can draw some analogy to something like Git branches. Git workspace list. So it's something like branches. That's a default. Everything we have done on default. There is only one state file. If you see, this is the one. But now I would like to create a new workspace. How do you do that? Workspace new. Let's say dev workspace. Okay, it says created and switched the workspace. Okay, you are in dev workspace now. How do you know? Dev workspace list. It will list all of them. The asterisk star indicates on which workspace you are on. It has created the workspace and you are switched to the new workspace called dev. And the most important thing, see, this directory is created. Terraform.tf.tfstate.d. If you open it, there will be a separate folder for dev. All the state files for dev will go here. Similarly, I would like to create one more workspace called test. In the same directory, there will be one more subfolder created called test, and its state file will be present there. Means you are, the question could be, how do you manage multiple environments? Or else how do you replicate your environment? Or else how do you maintain multiple state files? Or why do you need multiple state files? See, of course, they're empty as of now because we did not apply. You have separate environments. Now, first let's go to dev. Or else I'm already on test. I'm already on test. First, let's create test environment. Okay, so now I want to create in the test workspace, right? So what I have to do, simply Terraform, apply. Now the multiple variable files will come into picture, right? Because for each workspace, you have to manage a separate values. I'll have this. Okay. Let this finish. It is taking some time, right? Let's execute. Meanwhile, I'll show you one thing. See here for instance name, what are we doing? Count tf-0, right? But I would also like to add something else here. See workspaces. Okay, let me confirm this. You can get the workspace value using something called locals. Locals means confined or built-in variables. Here I can say instance or else let's say environment variable. Okay, that is it. That is dollar Terraform.workspace is a built-in variable. Okay, it will get the workspace name. Okay, that's what I just want to give to environment. And here index.env. What is env? Env is this one, right? Of course, how do you refer the env? Env should be referred as, I would like to remove all of this, and env would be referred as local.env, locals, right? So let us apply. See, it's already created by this name. Let's see. It might have created nano. See, earlier one was not disturbed because it's in the default namespace. Do you see this? This is from default namespace. Anyway, so this is the one, but I would like to append this with the name of the workspace. So let me reapply. So the name should be modified. So the name should be modified. See, it was saying the name would be modified as such. Let's see. See, it has considered local.env. Actually, it's a variable. So that's how we refer them, right? So let me just apply once again. I just want to get the workspace name. So what it was, yeah. See, do you see that now? Yeah, test. The name is test. That's what we need. And now that should be test, right? This is the name. I have removed the index. So simply test. If you want, you can append it with the index also. This is from default namespace. Let it be. Now, I just want to go to dev environment as well. How do you switch? Terraform workspace, select workspace, select test workspace. Now you apply the same with the test file. Sorry, we are already in test, right? We should select dev so that you switch. That's how you switch. So dev. Now do the same, but pass the Terraform -dev dot. This is how we maintain multiple environments in the real projects. I would like to add something else here, the index as well, like we were doing before. Let me confirm here. And next time after test, I would also like to put count.index. Right, so it would be test -0 and so on. It might have created one more instance. So yeah, this is coming from default. This is coming from dev environment, parallel environments. Do you see? We replicated the infrastructure, same code, spinning up infrastructure for multiple environments. Got it, everyone? I just want to try suffixing with the index also. See, dev-0. Perfect, right? This is what we need. So let me apply this. Okay, done. Let's see here. Yeah, dev-0. Test I did not apply. Once I go there and apply, it will also be changed in this way. So this is how you manage the environments. And now if you see dev, see it has got Terraform state and Terraform backup. Similarly, test, they have their own state file and state backup files. Do you see that? This is very important. Okay. And I don't want any infrastructure in default. So just go there, Terraform workspace, select default. You can't delete this default workspace, but you can destroy the infrastructure there. So you can destroy it. Terraform
Preeti,
destroy.
before you destroy it, a quick recap after we created the environment variables, right? Between creating the environments. A quick recap. I kind of followed entirely, but just like a little bit lost in between.
Like we created workspaces, we were switching into the workspace and applying the code, that's all. And when you are applying, each environment may have their own values, so we have separate files. We are passing that file whenever we are applying. These are the commands we did. Like you select, you list the environments, you switch to the environment, test environment, apply this file. To whatever environment you want to go, select the environment, pass the file this way.
Oh, okay.
If it is test, pass test var file. If it is dev, pass the dev var file.
So, but we did apply this to the to that corresponding environment, correct?
Correct. You have to switch there. Like using, how do you switch? Select. Select a test, then run
Yeah.
this command. Select a dev, then run this command. Now I am back into default, the default workspace to destroy it, because see, default also we have created earlier in default. That's why 3 were there. I don't want this one, which is corresponding to default. I want to destroy it. So I just went to default, Terraform, destroy. See, because it doesn't have var file, I think it is t3.nano. It cannot delete, I believe, because I made the code changes. It may give us error. See, here it will search with this name, maybe, because we don't have that. Or else is it deleting? Okay, it has identified TF-0, means whatever in that workspace it was deleting. Good. Okay, fine. That's how you destroy the infrastructure. Now I have only two infrastructure, dev and test. So this is how you maintain multiple state files or multiple environments, or this is how you replicate the infrastructure. This is answer to all of these questions. Workspaces are the one which help you. Let's suppose I'm done. Default workspace you can't delete. Let's suppose I want to delete other workspaces. Yes, that you can do always. You switch to that environment, destroy it, and then delete the workspace. Okay, so you have only two environments now. See, dev and this test. Okay, only two you have. Of course, this also, if you reapply, it will show you the name. Fine. So I just want to destroy the infrastructure. Again, go there, Terraform workspace, select test workspace. Okay, I would like to destroy everything. Terraform, destroy. You can also do Terraform, destroy, auto approve. Oh, I didn't pass the value, right? See, that's what. See, if I run simply destroy or apply, you have to pass the value. Var file name, terraform dot test. If it is in the default file like terraform.tfvars, it would work. Otherwise, you have to pass the file name for destroy also, because those variables should be replaced with the actual values. Okay, meanwhile it destroys. Okay, let me confirm. You can also use auto approve for destroy. And see, if you have noticed any instance, okay, let's take up this instance. We passed environment name, AMI ID and the instance type, but there were many other values which will be configured, or many other attributes that are required to create an instance, right? Like VPC, subnet, right? Whether to assign IP address or not, and so many things. Of course, AMI ID we have seen. Yeah, key pairs you can pass during the launch. You can customize your own key pair, right? And then security groups you can pass, right? Like all traffic we were using. All these configurations, right? Subnets, VPC, all the network configurations, the storage, how much of volume it should be default. If you don't mention it's a default 8 gigs, right? All of this you can configure. You can customize your own tags. Of course, this is the tag we have. So many configurations we can customize when you create an instance. We just customized the instance type and the AMI ID. But you can do much more. That's how it works in reality, because we don't go with the default values, default networking. We'll configure our own VPC, we'll configure our own subnets, gateway, everything. Even security rules we have to configure from the Terraform. You can do all the custom configurations via Terraform. Okay, so the next step is implement those custom configurations with Terraform. Okay, let us proceed to that. Before that, let me destroy all this infrastructure. Yes, it is gone. Can we delete the workspace also? Yes, why not? Terraform workspace, delete test workspace. Actually, you can't delete the workspace on which you are in. I'm already in test workspace. See, workspace test is your active workspace. You cannot delete the currently active workspace. Same like branches also, right? You cannot cut the or delete the branch on which you are. So just switch again. Workspace, select dev, go to dev workspace, delete this test workspace. If you want, you can maintain them. I'm just deleting them. Okay, done. It is deleted. See here, only one folder, dev is remaining, one state file. Then I would like to delete dev also, but before that, destroy. Okay, once it is destroyed, we can also delete it. Okay, destroy completed. It is destroyed. Okay. We could also delete this workspace. Of course, you have to switch to the other workspace. Let's go to default. Okay, I'm just going to default workspace and delete the dev workspace. So this folder should become empty now. Right? So see, this is empty. Okay, and now this workspace will be used whatever you apply. One workspace is enough for us now to customize or to create our own infrastructure with all the custom values. Okay, let's come back here. Now, yeah, we were going to create an EC2 instance with all the custom configurations, including the VPC, everything. What is VPC and all we have discussed in the last day, like in the Saturday session. I'll give a recap. Okay. So every region will have a VPC. VPC means virtual private cloud. It will help us to have isolated environment, isolated network for security. All the resources, whatever resource you create will go into some VPC. Okay, again in this VPC, you can have subnets, means sub ranges of that VPC. VPC will have some IP address range, which is called CIDR range. Some IP address range. Okay, that's called CIDR range. So now if you take a subnet 1 or subnet to any subnet, okay, this is every availability zone in that particular region will have a subnet. Okay, this will be a subset of this IP range. Means let's say your for instance your a VPC or as IP address range of VPC is A to Z. This will be a subset of it, like B to J. Then from K to M, this would be something like that. It would be a subset of the VPC range, VPC's IP address range, which is the CIDR range of the VPC. Okay, so this is how you have a subnet. Now those subnets can be private or public, depends on how the network traffic is routed. Means every VPC will get internet traffic through something called another network component called internet gateway. Okay, from internet gateway, you will get the network flow. Means you need internet access, yes. You can attach this internet gateway to any subnet, and to whichever subnet you have attached, it will be called as a public subnet. But how do you attach that internet gateway to the subnet? Through another component called route table. Route table is nothing but set of routes or rules. So you can add here like internet gateway, traffic should be allowed, and I'll add this route to this subnet. Means this subnet is associated with that route which is having internet gateway as a rule. This is called public subnet. Otherwise, by default, all subnets are private. You can't connect to the instances on private subnet. Okay, but if you attach internet gateway with route table and associate that route table to the subnet, it will become public. So this is the actual architecture. VPC means every instance you create, every EC2 instance will be by default going into the default VPC, default subnet, default routes, default internet gateway. But all of them we can customize at the enterprise level. So here, yeah, I can have a VPC, I can have our own VPC, and within that VPC, we can have our own subnet. In that subnet, I can launch the instance, not just launching the instance with all the default values. Okay, so we can create our own VPC. How do you create anything? For some time, I'm just removing all of this. I don't have workspaces or everything. I'm just wiping off everything. This data source, let it be. We'll be using that later. So let the data source be there. Now, first, I would like to create a VPC. Go to the official documentation. AWS provider, Terraform. Go to the Terraform registry for the AWS provider. Search for VPC. If you want to create any instance like any resource like we created EC2 instance, we can create VPC. Here you can see something like AWS default. That's about default VPC, but I want to create my own VPC. See AWS VPC. AWS subnet, security groups, route tables, all of that you can create. See, resource AWS, some name and the CIDR block. Okay, CIDR block is the IP address range. If you want, you can add the tags also. See, different ways you can do it. Okay, anyway, first component. Okay, I can go with the same CIDR range means some IP address range. Now, if you create instance and anything, everything will go into this range. Your EC2 instance will be assigned with an IP address within this range. Okay, I would like to put tags also for identifying. Tags. Name of the tag is my VPC. Okay, done. So it should create your own VPC. Let us apply. First, let's do plan, Terraform plan. Meanwhile, let me show you the VPC. I don't have any infrastructure now. Instance type. It's a parameterized, right? So, okay. VPC, you can search here for VPC is another service. Isolated cloud resources. We don't have physical networking here. This is all logical. You logically isolate your resources. See here, VPC. See, this is my VPC. I think this was created some time back. Let me delete it. I just want to create my own VPC now. Okay, see, this is the default VPC, default IP address range given. Okay, it says default yes, means that's a default VPC. Okay, now I would like to create my own VPC. Receive one to change. It was saying it will change because it's already there. I'll apply now. It will say it will create. T3 dot value you should give properly or else pass some file. I'll pass this file. Okay, T3.nano. Terraform apply. Yeah, I would like to pass this file. It's having T3.nano. I'm applying it so that VPC will be created. Within that VPC, I would like to create the subnet. Here a VPC called my VPC should be created. Confirm it. You're done. Now, okay, this is my VPC. So you can hit that VPC and see there were no subnets within this VPC. Generally, if you see the default VPC, it will have its own subnet. This is the default one. See, it has got 3 subnets. I told you, right? Every region will have a subnet. But our VPC doesn't have any subnet. Let's create a subnet. How to create a subnet? Refer the official Terraform documentation. See, resource, subnet. This is the type of the resource, name of the resource, and the CIDR block. Okay, means you should also give the range for your subnet, which is a subset of the VPC range. So now come here. Okay, subnet, I'm giving main. I just want to change it as own VPC, own subnet. Okay, and this subnet, if I don't put this VPC ID, it will create in the default VPC. But I don't want in the default VPC, in my own VPC. How do you refer your own VPC? The type of the object, name of the object, and the ID. So name is own VPC. Got it, all of you. Also here, I would like to give the tag as my subnet. right? This should be a subset of this particular range, sub-range of it, right? So I can give here this subnet. That should be fine. Clear, everyone? Understood? Yeah, also you could mention the availability zone, otherwise it will create in the default zone. I mean, any other availability zone. If you want to be specific, you can also mention it. But that is enough. So let's apply. It should create a subnet within our own VPC. This is the second component. First component is VPC. Second component is a subnet. Confirm this. Okay, 2 added, 1 destroyed because I changed the name here. This one, this is changed. So it might have created a new one. Let's check this. Okay, this is my VPC. Okay, refresh this page and this is the VPC. See, ID got changed because we changed the name. See, and it has got the subnet created in this VPC. Got it, everyone? This is the default one. Now our VPC has got subnet, right? Default route table it has got. Got it, everyone? Understood? So subnet is created. By default, it will be a private subnet. But if I want to make the public, if I want to pass the, like if I want to have network connectivity, we should add an internet gateway. Here you may see, if you go to any default subnet, this is the default subnet. See, internet gateway attached. Do you see that? Network connectivity there. We don't have it. So let's create the internet gateway. Any component, how do you create? You can have here internet gateway as well. See, internet gateway. So just the same block for internet gateway. Okay, internet gateway, own internet gateway, own internet gateway. Let me give here also name as own subnet, own VPC. Again, it will change, it will recreate it because we changed this name is important. But that's fine. And here I want to create the internet gateway for my own VPC, not somewhere else. So you should put own VPC. Here also we should write it as own VPC. Okay, let me remove this hyphen. Anything is fine. Right? Clear with the code, everyone? My internet gateway. We were not doing much. We were just getting the code from the official reference and modifying accordingly. But these 3 resources clear for everyone? Any questions? Or did not understand? Always we should not do auto approve. We have to first run plan, see the changes, then apply it. Internet gateway, our own internet gateway might have been created. This is the VPC. Here you can see them attached, or else you can also see here. Search for the subnets. You should see our own subnet. See, my subnet is the one we created, and internet gateways. That's a default one. We should have our own gateway created. Yeah, it was because we changed the names. Okay. Let us refresh again. Internet gateway. See this my own gateway. Subnets. My subnet. Okay, this is the one actually. And the VPC. Refresh it. This is our VPC. Right? subnet, route table, see my own gateway, right? So internet gateway component is created as per the diagram. See here. But how do you attach this internet gateway with the route with the subnet? You should create one more component called route table. Let me number here. This is the VPC. Okay, this is the subnet. Third one is the internet gateway. Fourth one is a route table. Then there'll be fifth component. Associate the route table with the subnet. Okay. So we created already three. Now fourth one. First create the route table. Then associate the route table. So how do you create the route table? Always refer this document. Okay, see route table. So resource route table VPC ID. You put the VPC ID. That's all. That will associate the route table. Sorry, that will create the route table. Already route table default route is there. One second. Here is my subnet. See route tables, you can see. See the default, the route table is there. We can associate this route table. Or we can create a new route table. Let us create a new route table, then we'll associate. See, this is how you can create the route table. VPC ID, the routes, whatever gateway, internet gateway you are attaching, or else if you want to attach any other components, you can do. So this is the block to create the route table, our own route table. Okay, and internet gateway, our own internet gateway. Our own internet gateway name is own internet gateway. This is the name you have to refer. Okay, so the route will be added and I want all the internet traffic. All the internet traffic means 0.0.0.0 slash 0. All the internet traffic. So close this block. Also, if you want to add the tag section, yes, add it like my route table. My route table, right? Once the route table is created, we'll associate this route table to the subnet through another resource. So let's apply this. Something wrong on line number 11. Where was it? Route table example. Yeah, see, where is it? Do you have VPC by name example? What is your VPC name? Because it could not find VPC with this name, it was throwing you error. Sorry, here. Okay. Also here I can say own route table. This name could be anything, but when you are referring that particular object, you should use the same name. Okay, let's see. This is my subnet. This is the VPC. See, now it got attached to new route table. See, here can you see that route table is attached to the gateway, but subnet is not attached to the route table. Do you all see that and following? Should I repeat? Inside VPC, inside the VPC, you'll have a subnet. Okay, and there will be a component called internet gateway, which will allow internet traffic. Another one is route table. Route table will have routes, how traffic should be diverted, how traffic should be redirected. All those rules will be there in this route table. Okay, so inside the VPC, you have got this subnet. I'm again repeating. Any questions, please let me know. Inside the VPC, you have this subnet. Internet gateway will be there for every VPC. This is responsible for allowing internet traffic. This is your internet gateway. But how do you attach this internet gateway to subnet? Through route tables. Okay, now what I did, yes, I have added this internet gateway rule to the route table. This is done. How is it done? Through this block. See, I have created route table with this rule of attaching the gateway. Do you see that? Own internet gateway I have attached to this route table. So it is attached. But subnet, it is not attached. How is this happen? How do you associate the subnet to this route table? Making sense, everyone? Yeah, it's pretty. So that association will be done by another resource in Terraform called Subnet Route Table Association. See here. Okay, copy it. Okay. See, route table association name, you can give anything. Okay, let it be a subnet. Your subnet name. What is your subnet name? How do you know your subnet name? This is what is your subnet name. Associate to this subnet. Okay, provide the ID. Then route table. Route table ID also. Where is my route table? Which route table? This is the one. Own route. Making sense, everyone? I'm detailing the things as much as possible. You have to speak up if you have any confusion. These are a bit complex. These are your network configurations. Very important. I have explained these things on Saturday in detail. See here. If you refresh here, still because I did not apply the code. See here, route table is associated to the, this gateway is attached to the route table. You can see the link here, right? That happened because of this code. When I created route table, I attached the internet gateway. But subnet is not attached to the route table. That happens with this. Let us apply and see. You have diagrammatic representation as well. Here you can see the connectivity. Sorry. Here you can see. If you go to the default VPC, yeah, this is the default VPC. All the subnets were associated with the route table. That route table is attached to the internet gateway. Here it is attached to the default route table. Okay, every subnet will have a default one. It got attached to it. But now I made the change to which route table it should attach. Let's see what happens. Refresh this. See, do you see that now? It got attached to my own route table and my own internet gateway, right? Got it right, all of you. So yes, route table is also ready. Okay, you can also create security groups. Whenever you add a security group, it will get a name like this. See, so many launch wizard 1, 2 with all your rules. Now I would like to create my own security group so that I can associate to my instance. See, these will be associated to your instances if you have noticed it. See, if you take up this security. Okay, these were all terminated. Okay, slave 2. Security. Do you see this launch wizard 6? So it was having those security rules. So I would like to create a security rule, launch wizard 6. So then I would like to attach to my instance. How do you create security rule? You don't need to know anything. Go here. If you don't know the name also, search here or else see this is the security rule. Right? It has given some description. If you want, you can read it. And this is the rules. These are the rules. Do you remember ingress and egress rules? Inbound, outbound rules. I believe you remember that, right? It will have inbound rules. We edited inbound rules means allowing incoming traffic. Outbound rules for allowing outgoing traffic. So you can decide them. Ingress means inbound. Egress means outbound rules, outgoing rules. So I can copy this whole thing. And you should associate it in your VPC. So, all these values we are not giving means it is using default, but this is how we do in reality. Give some name, let's say my security rule group, whatever, my security rule. Okay, some name, let's say web rules or whatever, some description and the name of your VPC, own VPC. Okay, then the egress rules like inbound traffic. I want to allow inbound rules first. SSH I want, isn't it? You want SSH into the machine. So give some description of your own SSH. SSH is on port, which port? 22. Okay, so that's all. And here, CIDR block. CIDR blocks means from where you want to connect the source. Actually, this is source. Do you remember we have given source as my own IP, or else from anywhere means give 0, like 0.0.0.0/0 means from anywhere we can connect with on port 22. Also, maybe I want to install some package or something on port 80. So I would also like to open that port. Let's say 8080. 8080. Okay, TCP. Connect from everywhere. And the name is, it is HTTP. Got it? 2 inbound rules. And outbound rule is for allowing traffic. I want to allow all traffic so that it can connect to internet, download the packages. Some name to your, let's say, own security group. Clear, everyone? The security rule called web should be created now, and that should be attached to our own VPC. In the VPC, here I should see a new security rule. So let us create it. Let us apply. But firstly, I don't need to pass the value. I have removed this. Okay. All right. Okay, so now if you see own SG created. The name is web. And if you see the inbound rules, 22 and 8080. Outbound rules, all traffic. 00 means all traffic. Good, right? This one I'll add to my instance. So now let's create the instance. All the components were ready. Okay, we can create our instance. But before that, let's also see that VPC, my VPC. Here you can see the flow of network connectivity, right? And flow logs are not there. CIDRs, okay, that's a CIDR block. Tag is the name. Okay, resource map. There's a new feature which will allow you see this kind of details. Yeah, show details means it was also showing you the names exactly. 1 subnet association, 2 route tables. One is a default one. Okay, this route table we are not using. Okay, now let's create the instance. How to create the instance? We already know how to create the instance. AWS instance. Okay, let's search here. It will be under EC2. So this is how already data source we have, but this is the one yesterday's block we have. But we could also customize and tell which VPC we want, all the feature, all those details. See, networking and credit specification example, you can tell which VPC you want, everything. First, let me copy this part. We'll add those parameters. Okay. So this is coming from my own AMI. So it is my AMI. You remember this, right? Already yesterday we have created this data source to fetch the AMI. The name is my AMI. So I would like to use that. Okay. And then this should come from the variable, this variable definition, and this value I would like to use. So it will be var dot instance type. Okay. Yeah. And then the tags, if you want, you can use something like count or something like hello world. Anything is fine. You can add it, you can change it. Now, what else I need? Say I want it to associate a public IP. I want a public IP to my instance. You have all those attributes here. CPU core count values. If you want it to have some IP address assigned. Private IP. Let us search for public IP association. Public. See, associate public IP. Optional, whether to associate IP address or not. We want this. So copy this attribute. Associate the public IP address. Should be true. And then subnet ID. Because see, if I don't mention, it will go to the default, right? So subnet ID. How do you refer it? Type of the object dot name of the object. Name is, see, when you give dot, it should show us. Otherwise, you can also put the name subnet.id, right? So it will be created in this. This subnet is in the VPC. Also, if you want to assign the security groups, there is another parameter called VPC security group. You can search here for security groups. This is the one. VPC on list of security IDs associated with. I have associated this VPC with this security group with the VPC. So we could use this. Okay, the security group ID, AWS security group, this one. This is the type. Dot name, my security rule. Type of the resource. Dot name of the resources, my security. Dot ID. Right, this can be in the square brackets because you could associate multiple security groups to your instance. So that will be working like an array. Place them in the square brackets. And then the key name. If you want to mention your own key name, yes, you can do that. Let's say ABCD key. Okay, this key should be already created and available. I have this key already in this region. So done. That's all. Right. And if you want to print anything, you can put output value like we have learned yesterday. Outputs. Some name, let's say IP address. I would like to print the IP address of this instance. Let's say private IP. Value equal to the instance type dot your instance name dot private IP. Right? That's all it will print. But see, I have opened port 8080 also. Let's say I just want to install something on that port 80 during the runtime. See, you have one more feature whenever you are creating EC2 instance. Whenever you create an EC2 instance, there will be something called user data. If you scroll to the end, go to advanced. See this user data. You can browse a file and also put this. What is this user data? You can browse some shell script and use it. Upload a file with your user data, enter in the field. Means I would like to install some Tomcat, let's say. Okay. So what this user data does? This will execute during the launch of your instance. Okay, it will execute during the launch of your EC2 instance. This user data configuration can be done with Terraform as well. Means here also there is an attribute called user data, which will execute during the startup of your instance. And the file, you can pass the file, let's say some script file, let's say server config.sh. Right, you can pass this. This script will be executed during the launch of your instance for the first time. Right, that you can create that file as well here. Use the same name server.sh and put something if you want to install something there. Okay, you can do that, and that is available on port 80, right? Here we have opened that port. Correct? So you may install something here. Let me just write something. It will work as EC2 user. So install Tomcat -12, right? So if you want, you can download some file and copy there. Or else what you can do, of course, this is a shell script. So for it to identify the shell program, write the line bin bash, shebang line bin bash. Okay, you can install Tomcat this. So whenever it runs, it will install Tomcat. Or else what you can also do, like you install Tomcat, you can also install Docker. Update the package manager and also yum install Docker. Okay, I'm installing Docker. You could install Tomcat as well and then start Docker. Start Docker. And also once Docker is started, sudo docker run -itd. Okay, I would just like to run Nginx, but I would like to port forward. Nginx runs on 80, but I would like to port forward to 8080 because that's the port I have opened on my EC2 instance with -p. By now, you should be comfortable with these Docker commands. Yeah, got it, all of you? All right. So that's all you have. But sometimes, like, if you are running this as EC2 user, EC2 user may not have permissions to run Docker commands. So what you can do, you can add this EC2 user to the Docker group. Or else let us see if it doesn't have permissions, like if it doesn't work, we'll add that. Let us apply. So without SSHing into the machine or without doing anything, we were doing all of this, like create your instance, create the VPC, subnet, all of that were created, right? Only EC2 instance. See, that's what it, okay, this previous one, sorry. So now it should show the EC2 instance should be created. Let's wait. Something wrong, some error. My security has not been declared in the root module. Okay, let's see what it means. First, let's go. Oh, it is my security rule. But what I'm using here, I'm referring it as my security. It's my security rule because it can't find with my security. It's my security rule. So let us apply. See, Terraform code writing is very easy. See, by now I have written almost 125 lines of code, right? Just bit by bit we have written, we have referred everything, official documentation and modified it. Did we write any logic? Do you remember we writing any logic? Yeah, we did not do anything. We did not write any logic. We did not do anything here. Very easily, we have just get the code from Terra official documentation. We have modified it. So only thing is practice. Okay. Also, you can rely on ChatGPT. Okay. For the code snippets. That also you can do. See, public, private IP we have printed. Everything is done. Let's see here. Yeah, instance is hello world. It is created, is it in default VPC or on VPC? Let us refresh. This is the instance. Yeah. Can you see now? It's in my VPC, my subnet, and the IP address you have passed. Public IP is associated because I have to tell IP, public IP should be true. See, key pair is ABCD key. Security groups, the same was added. This is the web, right? The name I have 228080. Everything else is as expected. See, my subnet and all. Now, if I hit this public IP on port 8080, can I see Nginx? Let's see. It's not means something. Docker is not started or else Docker container is not started. Let's see. Okay, let's step into this instance. This is the instance, right? Let's connect to the instance. User is EC2 user. Do we have Docker? Of course, we were running as this. First, let me check if Docker is running. See, Docker is not started. Okay, we install it as EC2 user. Then we should see this as well. Did we start Docker? Server.sh. Systemctl start Docker. But why Docker is not running? Let me try this command here. Start Docker. I should do sudo. Now Docker should have been started. Permission. See the permission denied error. What is I write here? Sudo, sudo, sudo. But I have done sudo, but EC2 user doesn't have permissions to run these commands. What you can do is, after installing Docker and starting Docker, or else here itself after installing this, add this user group, user mod, append the Docker group with EC2 user. Means what happens here, EC2 user will be added to the Docker user group. Every application, whenever you install Docker, you will have a Docker group created. So adding this EC2 user there. Now if I rerun also server, this is user data will not re-execute. What I'll do, I'll just terminate this instance and will apply again. I would like to reapply, recreate. Now let us recreate this. It is shutting down, so it should start new one. Sudo is misspelled in line 4, is it? Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me reapply. Thank you, Bhuvneshwari, corrected.
Am I audible, Preeti?
Okay, new instance was created. Let's see. Not yet ready. It's still creating. Yeah, this is the one, right? Initializing. Let us wait. It is not yet ready, but just let me check. Status is initializing. Let's wait. This is the stage where user data will be executed. Meanwhile, if we want, we can also connect to this. Is it user is Docker is installed. Do you see that? Docker is there already. Yeah. See, now it's working. Also, Docker ps -a. See, container is started, port forwarded to 8080. We should be able to see it now. Also, by now it should be status should be running. It's still saying in initializing. Let me check here. Yeah. Got it, everyone? We did not do anything. Everything is done via Terraform, right? All of this is called infrastructure provisioning. Whatever we have done, this is all infrastructure provisioning, creating the infrastructure or modifying and all. But this part is configuring the infrastructure, configuration management via Terraform. Yesterday we discussed, right? Terraform is good at provisioning. Configuration should be done by Ansible. Means this kind of installations and all should be taken care by Ansible. Terraform can do it, but it's not so efficient. We'll discuss what are the problems with the user data and all. It can do, but it's not great or expert in configuring it. Why? What is the drawback with this user data? We will discuss tomorrow. So, but the complete infrastructure from scratch with all the custom configurations were automated with Terraform. Right? These are all the components we created. We got the AMI ID using data sources. Okay, we have created the VPC, our own subnet, our own internet gateway, our own route table, associated the subnet to the route table, created the security group, and then created the instance within the same VPC with the same security group, key file, and with some user data. Finally, it could be your address book application, right? You could deploy your address book image here in the server.script. Instead of using Nginx, you might have used your address book Docker image. But you should do Docker login again here. You should do Docker login because it's in a private repo. But all of this configuration can be done with Ansible much more effectively. But anyway, this is our video, and we have also got the variable file and terraform.tf. Any questions from anyone? Always practice referring the official documentation. Okay, you have to understand what is happening and do it. That's all. You could also take help from ChatGPT for it. Let me show you. Terraform code to create an EC2 instance with all network configurations. Right, whatever we have done. Do you see that? But after ChatGPT came, I don't think people will learn much. See, everything you have, provider block, resource block, which is VPC, first VPC, subnet, that's what we did, right? But how did people used to write before ChatGPT? And that's where the real learning goes. Yeah. See the subnet, security group with only SH22 port they have added, right? Resource, finally the resource. This is what we have written, isn't it? Your key, it was asking you have to use your own key, replace with your SH key pair, security groups, tags, and so on. If you want to further customize it, you can tell let's say security group with port 8080 open. Now, actually, you don't work hard and learn, but always you should do. But in case if you need, see here, right? Or else you just modify this question, edit this. Sorry. And the same code, I just want to add few ports. Array. Config with port 8080, port 9090, open. And keeper name is ABCD. See, this will help you only if you know the actual concept. You already know how to do, but if you want to see exact snippets and all, this you can use. If you don't know anything, if you are at 0 level, you can't use this ChatGPT also. Means basically you should know this can help you. You can use this like an assistant or a helping hand, right? It has shown you adding all the ports, right? That's how you can also use this. Terraform code, you may see it a lengthy, huge code, but if you refer the document and if you understand, try to understand it, it's nothing big deal here. Only thing is practice. You don't try, we are not writing a lot of logic and all, just infrastructure configurations. So that is all from my end. Anything else? Any more questions from your end?
Preeti, do you think
Do the hands-on,
generative
few
AI?
quizzes are pending from my end. Okay, I'll update them in a couple of days. Running with a hectic schedule, in couple of days I'll update them. Right. Meanwhile, please do the hands-on and go through the recordings. And once they're available, you can also go through those quizzes.